Hello, dear ones. Welcome to Embodied Tarot and Healing. It's October 6th. We are deep into fall and really tuning into that experience of lengthening nights, lengthening rest, turning inward, not so much time outward, being seen, more time inward, and processing inside of ourselves. Which of course doesn't mean that life stops, that we get to completely tune out everything around us and not engage with the outside world. And so it can be really interesting to navigate that pull and that yearning to connect with ourselves more deeply alongside everything that our world is putting in front of us right now. So want to really honor that and honor that if you are experiencing a sense of tension between everything outside of you and what the inner knowing is asking for right now, that there is space for that and to really hold yourself with patience. And try to honor as best as you can, even little 5-minute snippets at a time, or little ways that we can tune into ourselves, even as we take care of everything that we need to in our world, or just engage with everything that is happening in our world really mindfully and consciously. So yeah, with that, we're going to turn to the cards today to invite in some wisdom on how we can, so we're still working with the theme of balance, obviously, how we can be in this space of balance with kind of equanimity in the flow from kind of one extreme to the other, the needs of the internal and the needs of the external. And our first card coming out is the Hierophant. So this is one of those cards, I want to take a moment to talk about it, because this is one of those cards that we are really, as my teacher calls it, rewilding in modern tarot work. So historically, the Hierophant was envisioned as a leader, usually a religious leader, sort of cultural leader, somebody who taught the rest of the people that were assumed to not have their own knowledge, their own understanding, their own wisdom. And so one of the things that we are rewilding about this right now is this sense that we are all our best teachers, that we have a deep well of wisdom that is our little piece of source that is connected to everyone and everything, and that knows and processes far beyond what we are actually conscious of, like the thoughts in our brain. Like, our system is processing at a way deeper level, and so there's so much that we can learn from tuning into ourselves. That does not mean that we then ditch the wisdom of our elders, the wisdom of wise people who have come before us, our lineages, the things that we really do have space to learn in. It's just also kind of bringing in what is so important right now, that thought that nobody understands your body, your life, your system better than you do. You've lived it, You have unique knowledge that, the perfect alchemy of experiences has created, and nobody else has that, And so everything we want to kind of filter through this this understanding, and this, like, does this actually resonate for me? Is this the direction that I deeply want to go? Is this the understanding and the wisdom that actually allows me to step into my power more, rather than being disempowered by somebody else telling us the right and the wrong way to do things? So Hierophant work is also about stepping out of that binary a good bit and allowing ourselves to hold space for a spectrum of in alignment and out of alignment. It's it can be really challenging work, because of course anytime that we are learning, whether it's from somebody who is outside of us or learning from our own experience and our own wisdom, usually learning involves some space in what am I thinking of? Some in-between space where there is a disconnect between what we are learning to be true and the way that we have behaved and acted before. And this is where there can be some pain, really, some like mental and emotional pain that comes up when we have to acknowledge and work through the way that things have been in order to really step into the next phase of our understanding. And we do often resist that knowledge. So there's a surrendering piece that happens to it, happens within it. And I mean, like I said, this is true whether we're learning something from somebody who is teaching it to us or from ourselves, is that like there is an element of surrender. There's an element of, okay, I'm gonna like let this knowledge in, let it settle, see what happens if I start to implement it and work from this space. But we always are treating it as, that see what happens if feeling, a curiosity, an experiment, not a this person said so and that's the end all be all, or I had this thought and now I'm going to elevate that to the end all be all too. It's inviting us into a fluid space where we can actually be both student and teacher continuously. Okay, so that was a lot about the Hierophant. But I will just say on embodying the Hierophant, those moments when we feel within ourselves that something is meant for us or not meant for us, stepping into that flow, stepping into that invitation in our bodies and using it as an opportunity to learn. That doesn't mean that the minute that we get this sense of like, oh, I don't like my job anymore, or oh, I don't like this person anymore, that we, cut all ties and cut and run and make that decision really quickly. But the Hierophant asks us to start to listen and learn from when we get those responses and use our body to move towards them. So one of the really simple things that I like to do when I have really any type of emotion come up, but especially one where I know I'm going to want to make a decision as far as like how I want to hold space for it, is to start by feeling what part of my body is responding to the opportunity, or is responding to that sense of disconnect. So depending on what part of my nervous system is registering it, which has a lot to do with our attachment and how we relate to work and whatever the situation involves. So it can register in many different parts of our body, right? So it may be registering in my jaw, let's say for example, that my jaw gets really tight because this feels uncomfortable to be in this and I want to get out of it. If I can actually start to work with my jaw, not trying to get it to relax, but actually moving towards what it wants. So it's wanting to tighten, I'm going to tighten it even more. I'm going to clench my jaw, I'm going to push my tongue up against the roof of my mouth. I'm going to tighten all of the muscles in my face and let them get real scrunched up. Not because I'm saying, oh, this is great, this is a great feeling, I want to experience this all the time, but because when we give space to it in that way, when we say like, yes, let's see what's happening here, then usually these emotions or these experiences in our nervous system, when they have that space, they start to unfurl. There's this, if you think of like even just walking into a room where it's people that all like really love and cherish you and like want to hear about your day, that there's this sort of like, like this is what's going on, this is what's happening. So we're basically recreating that within our bodies by giving the sensation permission to move in the direction that it wants to, okay? So we start there and then we just get curious about it. We say like, okay, what's going to happen now? Sometimes the sensation gets more intense, sometimes it gets less intense. Sometimes if we ask it really specifically, like, hey, what do you need right now? Or is there some information that you want to share with me? Or we might start to feel in our bodies a different desire for a different type of movement, a releasing of that. And, you know, this can look like yoga, and it can look just like, you know, sometimes my body just wants to shake a hand out, like, you know? It can be simple. And that is where the Hierophant really steps in and says, what is authentic to you? What wisdom does your body carry? And when we start actually asking our body what wisdom it carries, it can be kind of amazing how quickly we start to really deepen our repertoire of understanding of ourselves and start to see the patterns, so that, you know, maybe 5 times down the line when I feel my jaw getting tight, I might have this inkling of like, oh, this might be in the similar vein, a similar pattern as that resistance that I was feeling previously. And then maybe we have some tools of how we work with that is based not off of somebody else saying, this is how you get your jaw to relax, or this is how you open your throat chakra, or whatever it is, but because you have experienced what your body wants as it is honoring and then releasing. Whew, okay. It's rare, I think, that spirit is just like, we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about one card, but apparently that's important. However, we're going to pull 2 more right now. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. One more. It ended up being 3. Alrighty, so we have Judgment. 5 of Pentacles. Let's work with these 2 first, because they do work really beautifully together right now. So interestingly, I'm going to start with the 5 of Pentacles, actually, because the Hierophant is the number 5 in the major arcana, and there's sort of a thread through numerically. The 5 of Pentacles is often reflecting to us a way in which we are thinking that we do not have enough or are not enough without a certain resource, and that we do not currently have access to that resource. So there's a couple layers in which we may be learning something, whether from somebody outside of us or from our own kind of inner workings. And that learning may be around what we actually do have in terms of resources and what we actually do need, or maybe it's just that without anything else, we are already enough. We are already worthy, and we can really step into that divine light of love without whatever it is that's on the other side of the locked door, okay? So yes, we're learning, we're working on this. Judgment asks us to take a huge step back from all of the workings of the ego, from all of the games of the mind. Asks us to take a big, big step back and look at the whole picture of like the universe, of like life on the grandest scale. You know, if you believe in reincarnation, you know, like this is the zoom out to your soul's journey, not just the journey of this particular moment in our lives, this particular phase in our lives, but really like what is the bigger picture here. Oftentimes this is inviting us into non-duality, into being able to hold the both and of things, and really allowing ourselves to expand when we kind of let go of the limitations of the ego. Okay, we're going to get deeper into all of these, but I want to like wrap in the 3rd card too, because I think they all go together really beautifully. So then the 4 of Cups comes in and says, and where is it that perhaps we are turning away a bit from what we really desire? Where is it that we are maybe working through some anxieties or some insecurities that make us feel like we have to block out something else? I want to be clear though that this does not always manifest as feeling anxious. Sometimes it manifests as apathy or boredom or feeling like, again, like there's not enough. And so then, yeah, we have both judgment and the Hierophant really asking us to first of all, to look at those emotions, like, so apathy is another emotion that, like, it registers in our bodies in a different way. Often it is registering in more of a numbing, less of an intense sensation, lethargy, heaviness, but I invite you to feel it in your own body. And again, like we do, move towards it, exaggerate it. If your body feels heavy, feel heavy, put a blanket on top of yourself, move towards that, learn from it. Move towards it, not and I'm going to succumb to this and it'll take my whole entire day, unless that is what it means. We move towards it first, though, with that sense of what's happening. Can we be with this right now? Like, I want to open to whatever it is that I'm learning right now. And this automatically yanks us out of whatever story it is that might have created that emotion in the first place. Because we want to look at the emotion raw. We want to look at the sensation in our bodies raw and clear and clean. And then from there, we move towards it and we open to whatever messages it has. But those messages that it has are going to sound different than the I'm feeling this way because, because of the situation at work, because of the situation with this person, because the world is, in shambles and going crazy right now. Like, I'm feeling this way because of this. That is the story that we want to step back away from and get into the heart of, I feel this. It has this texture to it. It has this shape to it. I recognize this. This is similar to what I feel in this other circumstance, or this is something from my childhood. This is some inner childhood that needs to be nourished and cared for. And then continuously coming back to, what does my body really know? What wisdom does my body have for me? And can I let that be enough? Can I let it be enough? Can I turn towards it? Can I engage in curiosity? Can I step out of the story? Can I learn? And then can I let whatever has happened in that process just be enough? Okay. I'm going to get some Reiki heading to each and every one of you who is watching this right now. Alright, so take a few really deep breaths, ground down into your feet. Let a few breaths come out your mouth, settling into this moment, letting go of any stories in your heart and your mind right now. And then starting to drink in the energy flowing your way into your heart. And right here, right now, asking your body, letting your body guide you to any places of curiosity. What's happening there? Can you go sit with it? Can you breathe into as your whole being floods with this loving light that I'm sending to you right now? Can this light help to illuminate the cavities and spaces that we don't always feel comfortable turning towards? Can we turn a little light on inside so that you can maybe see that more clearly, so that you can teach yourself something here and now? And any time that you notice that your mind is wandering, drifting away from what's here and now in your body, can we so lovingly pull it back, and even from that experience learning what pulls us away, what grabs us from our lives, what keeps us hooked in. Come back right here, right now, body, breath, wisdom. served you today, darlings. This is the first one that I am just having be completely free and open to the public. With that being said, if you want to offer a one-time donation, then will be below. If you would like to become a supporter of Patreon and give $5 a month, that link will also be below. And finally, if you're listening to this and feeling like, gosh, I need to go deeper in this, I need to get more clarity around this individual sessions as well, please send me an email as well. If there's somebody else that could benefit from this work, please feel free to share it. This is made to reach whoever it is supposed to reach. I trust that my guides brought forward exactly what anyone who has found this video needed to hear right now. So, blessings to every single one of you, and I'll talk to you soon.